I'm super excited for today's guest, man. I've been a fan of this guy for years. So the fact that he's here in the studio, it's surreal, man. I'm not even gonna say what he does, because he does so much, man. He's literally everywhere. Please, help me welcome Darin Rios. Darin Rios, how are you, brother?
I'm doing well.
Dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for coming, man. Yeah. It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Long time coming, dude.
It's about time we fucking finally connected.
Yeah, I've been a fan of yours since I downloaded TikTok. You just have this face, like I remember, because you do so much on social media, like you don't really know what you do until you click your profile and then I see your bio.
Yeah.
And what do you tell people that you do?
That's the thing, man. I fucking battled with that for so long in my career.
Yeah.
I tell people that I'm a brand strategist or creative consultant. And so now it's like personal brand strategist. And what the fuck does that mean? You know? But for the longest time, I mean, I have my career in photography, graphic design. Yeah. And so all that stuff, and so it's just kind of like now I have conversations with people that change their lives.
Yeah. You're like a Rick Rubin. You have very Rick Rubin-esque
Man, that's like
energy.
The highest fucking compliment.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah, man. Yeah. Like a Pharrell.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
But a Darin Rios.
Yeah, Darin fucking Rios. Yeah, like even just a few minutes ago, like we were talking in the back studio, and I said something, and you're like, okay, where do you see yourself taking this?
Yeah.
And I was like, he's already doing his thing. This is Darin Rios, right?
I can't get away from it, dude.
Yeah.
Because like my whole life, I just have a hard time having just like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool. Oh, you're doing this thing? Cool. Yeah. Nah, like what's the vision, bro?
You want to
like,
get deep in there.
Like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, why not? Yeah. I've always thought of it like, why does something have to be shallow versus deep?
Yeah.
Like, or spiritual versus not spiritual.
Yeah.
You know, and in my opinion, and my approach to everything's fucking spiritual.
Yeah, exactly. Drinking alcohol in public at like bars and stuff like that, there's a lot of like downsides to it, but one of my favorite things about it is that people don't do small talk when they're drunk. Yeah. They get fucking right into it.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, how are you doing? It's just like, dude, my dad used to beat me. and I love that shit. Yeah. It's just like, really? Why? Why do you think he did? Like, I just want to get deep in there. Yeah. I don't want to talk about the weather, bro. I don't want to talk about like the crab shells are good, bro. Yeah. Why do you think your mother doesn't love you? Like that's I want to know that.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, dude, because I can fucking relate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we can use this as a healing, as like because you might not be able to, like you could tell something to a stranger that you could never tell your loved ones.
Dude, 100%.
And it's an honor if I'm the stranger that you chose. Go ahead, tell me, baby.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Dude, it's so funny because like you're saying, you're acquainted with the homeless people in the area.
Yeah.
I was very much the same way when I had my office in the Arts District. Yeah. And I made some video, like a video that went viral helping this guy like get his like window cleaning shit done or whatever. And I just met so many different walks of life, and every single time they're like, I just feel like I can talk to you. Yeah. And I'm like, that's cool. Like I feel good about that. However, am I worthy enough to like handle this truth? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, am I gonna help this person? Like, what do I do with this trust?
Yeah.
And there was one guy that was like, I used to ride fixed gear and like pretty aggressively, like no brakes, straps on my feet, fucking splitting lanes. Everybody knew me in downtown, like the dude on the black matte black bike splitting lanes.
You
have
and
a
biker's body, I can tell.
Yeah, dude.
Just like
aerodynamic
as fuck.
100%. People were like posting video of like, yo, this guy's running red lights, and like friends of mine tagging me like, yo, my friend saw you splitting lane, whatever. Anyway, so I was riding my bike through the Arts District one night, and I just saw this dude just chilling. He asked me, I don't know, he asked me for money or whatever. Anyway, we ended up talking. I said, why are you here? Like, why are you on the streets? Why are you in this position? He's like, man, what is the term, like, don't get high on your own supply? He's like, I didn't take my advice, and now I'm here.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, dude. And I was like, so where are you from? What's your story? Whatever, you know, getting fucking.
Yeah.
And he starts telling me about it. He's like, you know, I had this going for me, I had that, everything was great, I was making so much money, and I got high on my supply, and now I'm here. And he's like, to be honest, it's no one's fault but mine.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna be straight up, if you know, he's like, I'm looking to get high right now. Yeah. If you know, and I was like, I can't help you, but he's like, no worries. He's like, and he starts tearing up, and he goes, I was like, I wish I could help you. He's like, man. And he was this bald-headed black guy, and he looked handsome, but his teeth were all kinds of different directions. And he's like, you've already done enough. Yeah. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, just listening. He's like, you'll never know how much that means to me.
Yeah.
And he, typically in those conversations, they don't leave the conversation. Like, they kind of leave it lingering just in case maybe you want to give him some money.
Yeah.
But he was like, I hope you have a good night, man. I'll see you around. And like left.
Yeah.
And it dawned on me, like, people just want to be seen.
Yeah.
People just want to be heard. People just want to connect.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I you know, most homeless folks, when they speak to you, they have like a paragraph prepared.
Yeah, 100%.
And you know, that might turn off a lot of people, but people have to realize, like, you're probably the first person that spoke to him in 4 days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they're just ready to burst because they can't handle it, you know? My first studio, so this is my second one, my first studio was literally at Skid Row. Oh, really? It was above a flower shop. So I got really well acquainted with the homeless out there. And like, I have a joke in my stand-up where I'm like, I had to take a long break from alcohol. I took 500 days off because I realized I had an issue when I started having philosophical conversations with all the homeless people by my house. Like, literally, like, my friend would come pick me up and I wouldn't be at the studio. I'd be with all the homeless people, like, dressed like this, just like talking to them and just being buzzed and having a good time. And it's just like, to them, it's just like being seen is like more than enough.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them, they know they've made a mistake.
Yeah.
They know that it's nobody else's fault but their own, and they're just trying to survive. They're just trying to live, man. That's
what it is, dude. It's fucking human connection.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, you know, when I ask you, like, what's your vision for this? Like, what do you see this? Where do you see this podcast going? Whatever. It's like, that's not deep to me. To other people, it's like, oh shit, I didn't think about that. Like, sometimes I talk to my girl and she's like, yeah, I had this idea for this TikTok. I'm like, cool, so like, what are you thinking? And she's like, I don't know, I'm not really thinking about it. Like, I'm like, okay, no pressure, you know?
Yeah.
And like, I think I've always been very introspective, very like, well, why? You know, I remember being in the car with my dad. I was probably like fucking 5 years old, asking my dad something along the lines of like, what do you think happens when we die? You know, and he's like, well, I don't know. You can't think about that. I'm like, why? He's like, what do you mean why? I'm like, well, why? You know, like, why can't you think about that? He's like, don't ask those questions. You drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it, you know? And so for me, that just became normal. And so before I started doing the work that I do, I remember, and this is what kind of led me to do what I do in coaching and kind of the deeper side of creative consulting, and like, what I do is very spiritual. Yeah. It's very spiritual. And so, because I believe everything is spiritual, and so, it's spiritual. But anyway, friends of mine would kind of crack on me, like, there is no surface conversation with Darin. Like, I'll be out with my buddy Rob, and he introduced me to some people, and I just meet him. We're at the bar, and like, so where are you from? Like, Orlando, yeah, cool. And like, fucking 5 minutes later, we're talking about trauma. We're talking about fucking philosophy. We're talking about the existence of God, and like how things really, and just like all this stuff, right? And then they would always be like, they'd make some sort of joke afterwards. And I kind of felt shame for that because I was like, damn, do I just not know boundaries?
Yeah, am I doing something wrong?
Right.
Yeah.
Do I just not know like that social fucking cue of like, all right, dude, I'm just saying hi. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I thought something was wrong with me, but I was like, no, it's a fucking gift.
Yeah.
Because I can talk to somebody for 5 minutes and change their fucking life.
Yeah.
And then I can't tell you how many people I've talked to for 5 minutes. And they're like, I've gotten more out of this 5 minutes than I have in 5 years with a fucking trained therapist or psychologist.
I think you're in the fucking perfect city for your gifts is LA. Like where people have interactions with each other and then never see them ever again.
Right.
But then that night or that 30 minutes or that drink that you had with that person, it's still with you.
Right.
You know, I've had experiences with people that I don't know their name. I don't have their Instagram. I haven't seen them in years, but I still remember that conversation we had in the lobby at the hotel. You know what I mean? Like things like that. And I think LA is the perfect city for you.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Where do you think that comes from for you?
What do you mean?
Like that depth. Why do you feel like you go deep, personally?
I think ever since I was a kid, like I remember like the first instances that I started realizing it was in middle school, where people would tell me their secrets without me ever asking about them or prying or digging deep.
Yeah.
People just felt comfortable telling me their deepest, darkest secrets. And that's why I wanted to start the podcast, because I'm like, I feel like I'm pretty good at like just like conversation and you know, pretty knowledgeable on most things. And I feel like it could be, you know, I feel like I'm pretty good at opening the doors for a lot of people's emotions, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it started, I remember in middle school, like this girl just telling me her deep, dark secret that she kissed a boy and her parents are gonna get mad. She's like, don't tell anyone. And I was like, I remember thinking like, this is the first time you ever spoke to me. Like,
really?
Yeah, like why me? And she's like, I don't know, you just seem trustworthy. I feel like you.
I could just imagine you just walking in fucking middle school. It's like, excuse me, I just fucking kissed a boy.
And I'm like,
you're like,
okay.
What the fuck?
I was like, Miss Louder? This is an 8th grader speaking to a 7th grader. I don't
She's
know.
a hoe.
Yeah. Oh, you're a whore.
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding, I imagine.
Yes. I speak to them often.
But yeah, like throughout high school, college, you know, being a young adult, people would just tell me like, just be very open with me.
Yeah.
And that always fascinated me. I was always just like, why? Like, why?
Why do you think that is, though?
I'm a really self-reflective person.
Okay.
I reflect deeply on myself. Whether, you know, at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the year, I really, like, I like my alone time, and I sit in my room and I just think. And I was just like, you know, this month I really didn't make that much money. Why do you think that is? Well, you know, I went out a lot. Why did I want to socialize so much?
Yeah.
Well, I made this new friend and I think they're really fun and da-da-da-da. Like, I just really just dive deep into my own shit. So when I interact with other people, I see the similar patterns that I had already gone through. And I'm just like, okay, this person's going through what I went through back in 2019 or something like that. You know?
Or like even when you're talking, everything is energy and we're magnetic.
Yeah.
And this is science, this is facts.
Yeah.
Because they need that, and you are that, they're drawn to that need.
Yeah.
And it's like unspoken.
Yeah.
It's like you're this introspective, like self, I don't know, healing type being. There's a healing about you. This, I believe God is truth, and when we seek truth, it draws people in.
Yeah.
And so if you're an honest truth seeker, well, then you're an honest God seeker. And God is all that is. Yeah. And we're going to go fucking deep real quick. It's, in everything exists because of God. So like, if God is true and we are being truthful and there's somebody who's outside of truth, think of it like a fucking, like a what are those whirlpools, you know? Yeah. That truth, that depth. Yeah. And if they get caught in the vicinity, it's natural. It's just what happens. Yeah. And so as you were talking, that just kind of hit me. I was like, maybe that's why people are drawn to people like us, is because we're naturally truth seekers.
Yeah.
And they might not be. However, it's in their DNA, as an image of God, to be that, but yet maybe they've been confused or maybe they've been lied to or whatever. So when they come near it, it's like a fucking moth to the flame.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that. I've had experiences like that where I I got a little selfish. I thought to myself, like, these people are just using me for like my energy, the way I make them feel.
Yeah.
What do they bring to my table? But then I'm like, I shouldn't really think like that. I should just be. I should just be. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always constantly preach to my loved one. I have 2 younger siblings and an older sister as well. But I'm always telling them, like you have to love yourself. Like, before you can't expect to get your joy and love from somebody else.
Yeah.
You have to really figure yourself out. And once you figure yourself out, things will come to you.
Yeah.
I have
sisters?
Yeah, I have 2 sisters and a little brother.
Okay.
And I've experienced that constantly throughout my life, where I'm like, every time I decide, all right, I'm going to focus on myself and really try to figure myself out, boom, jobs come through, opportunities come through, great people in my life I meet. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, holy shit, like that. Like you say, it's a whirlpool. It's like a stretched out blanket, and you put a rock in the middle. It's just gonna absorb everything. Yeah. And I feel like that's like the reality.
As you're saying that, I'm like, sorry to cut you off, but please. That's why people are afraid of death, probably, because it's scary. Yeah. Because they're so surface, and like on the surface, it's familiar, and then when they get around people like us, it's like, yo, you're pulling me into something that I'm not
ready for. Yeah. It's scary. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's fucking scary, but like, it's freedom. Yeah. You want freedom. Okay, it's gonna be scary. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so like, I mean, that's a whole topic of discussion, but like, maybe that's what it is, and that's just kind of dawning on me now. Like, oh, it was never a problem. Yeah. It was people like us. Maybe we're some sort of filtration, psychological, spiritual, emotional filtration system that people, when they come in contact with us, after they leave, they're better. Yeah. Somehow.
Yeah. Like, I have people like that in my life where I'm like, every time I leave hanging out with them, I feel cleaner. I feel better. And, whether or not it's fair to them, I can only just be the best friend, best buddy I can be.
Right. And that comes with boundaries.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like, even as you're talking, I'm fucking on fire right now, because I'm like, oh, dude, it just confirms how much I know we should have met. Yeah. Like, I'm like, I have to hang out with this guy. I have to meet this guy, some way, shape, or form. Yeah. And you didn't even really have much content. You were not doing any podcast stuff or comedy stuff. Yeah. And so I was like, there's just something about this guy's energy. And so as you're talking, it's like, I'm already lifted. Now, where the boundaries come in is when you're the one in the room giving and everyone's leeching. Yeah. Now it's like, oh, okay, I see. Like, I need to protect myself here. Yeah. Because these people might not be ready, and then they're gonna their energy starts fighting against your pool. You know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like they see your light, but they're like, dude, like, cool, like, I see you, but like, how do I extinguish you a little bit so that I feel comfortable? Yeah. And it's like, nah, homie, I don't get extinguished. I don't get extinguished. Yeah. I just separate. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so that took me fucking years to learn. Yeah. Years. And like what you're talking about, self-love and all that kind of stuff, is like, I had no concept of that. Yeah. I was always like, my self-love and acceptance comes from the approval of everyone else. And so unless you approve of me, okay, I'll douse myself out. Yeah. Fuck it, I'll shut my fucking mouth. And maybe I am getting too deep, and maybe I am getting too truthful. So, okay, you tell me how to be. Yeah. And then I'm like, I go home and I'm dying inside.
I feel sick.
Sick, dude. Discouraged and down and not good enough. And it's like, God damn, dude. Like, what's wrong with me? It's like, actually, nothing's ever been wrong with you in the first place. It's just that these people can't see. They refuse to see light. It's not your problem. Like, oh, shit. And so what do I do about that? I'm like, you shine bright. And it's like, all right. And then you start trying to shine bright, but you're the only one shining bright in your room alone because you don't fuck with those people anymore. And so you're like, am I bright enough? Am I bright enough? Am I bright enough? And then you kind of start feeling like, oh, I'm not. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm fucking crazy. And then you post a fucking video on TikTok and the shit goes viral. And then, or you meet somebody, you step out in public and you're changing people's lives and you're like, oh, this is what it was all along. You know what I mean? What was I so afraid of? Why was I so afraid to be who I am?
Feel justified.
1000%.
Yeah. Speaking of TikTok, dude, I was a fan of yours. I would, I remember downloading TikTok and then seeing your videos, and I would always like them. I'd always like them. And then one day, I think I posted one clip that did pretty good, and you had commented on it, and then I saw that you were following me, and I was like, what the fuck? This one follows me? Like, what the, dude, hell yeah. And then we connected on Instagram, and I'm like a fan of yours, dude. And
dude.
It's fucking surreal that we're just fucking chopping it up and hanging out, man.
Dude, it's surreal that you're even saying that, because I don't see it like that. It's funny because in my career, it was like I worked with so many celebrities and so many and I'm just like, I'm fucking hanging out with Johnny Depp right now, just chopping it up. Like, I'm hanging out with Usher. Like, how the fuck did I get here? I don't have a college degree or high school diploma or anything. Like, I don't have an agent. I'm little old me with a fucking shitty ass camera with the biggest stars in the world. What the fuck am I doing here? To hear somebody who I have a profound respect for, like yourself, say that, it's just like, it's just so weird to be on the other side. But it's such an honor, man. It's like, it's so affirming and like encouraging. Yeah, because you're pretty big online, man. You got you have 500,000 followers on TikTok, 250,000 followers on Instagram. Do you do like YouTube and other stuff? YouTube is like shorts or whatever. It's like 50, almost 60K.
Yeah, and I just remember you did a series of dark psychology hacks and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, this dude, he looks just so neat, so interesting, man. Just a neat guy.
That's so funny, dude.
And, with your glasses too, and all that stuff. Yeah,
that was kind of my signature thing. Yeah, I was like, I was gonna wear my glasses today. I was like, I don't know how the lighting's gonna be, and I didn't want to be that guy who comes in and tries to tell people how to set up their lighting. Shit. So I was like, let me just save them some.
Have you gotten recognized on the street yet?
Yeah, but they haven't approached me in person. So there's this restaurant I always go to called Home State. Some of the workers there, one of my videos went viral, and they're like, I saw your video, you're doing so well. And like, they didn't want to be all like, whatever. But then I kind of noticed how the staff started treating me a little bit different. And I was like, maybe they've seen my stuff. And then one time I was on live, and somebody came in and was like, you go to 24 Hour Fitness in Altadena? I'm like, what's your name, bro?
What do you look like?
What do you look like? Who are you? Like, come say what's up. Like, and they didn't say anything after that. I was like, I think. I was like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, people see me. They don't want to say anything. And I think, and I tell my girl this all the time, I'm like, I don't think I'm approachable. Like, I'm a fucking nice guy. But like, and I think it has a lot to do with my trauma.
You're also tall too.
I'm tall.
Yeah, so maybe that's
you get it. You're like 7'12".
I'm fucking
and I'm 6'4".
Yeah.
In my head, I'm 4'9". And it's like this fucking weird body dysmorphia, fucking like insecure thing.
But you forget.
You forget.
You forget that you're like tall and big.
Yeah.
It happens to me all the time.
Dude. So you get it.
Yeah.
And so you slouch when you talk to people. You fucking.
I don't want to be in the way, like, cause I know I'm big, and I know I just don't want to be in the way. And like, sometimes we're sitting with friends, and then when we stand up, people just, holy shit, I didn't think you were that tall. Dude. I get reminded, I'm like, oh yeah, I am 6'5", 300 pounds. Like,
100%,
you know what I mean?
bro. Like there was a couple girls that I like kind of dated and like saw when I first started my TikTok or whatever. I wasn't like hoeing around or anything, but like when we would link up and have dinner, it was like, oh my God, I didn't know you were so tall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, every single time.
You
know, when I don't see family members for a while, they're like, have you grown? I'm like, no. If I did grow every time, you know, I'd be like 100 feet tall.
Yeah.
But it's like the first thing people say, you know? But I forget about that. And then also too, I posted something about this recently where it was like, when people stare at me, I get like, yo, what the fuck are you looking at? But also, am I doing something wrong? Do they think I'm a fucking creeper because I'm wearing glasses and I got a mustache and look like a fucking pedophile or some weird shit?
Like your fight or flight starts activating.
Dude, 100%.
Yeah.
And so, I almost guarantee it's not that. It's like, wow, this guy's tall and semi-good looking. Maybe he's somebody.
Or like, where do I see him? I've seen his face before.
I've seen him. He looks
I'm
familiar.
trying to figure it out and stuff. Yeah, I've experienced some of that, like where people recognize me from the podcast and TikTok, and it's like, it's pretty cool. But I've had a couple moments where they got like, he was there for one. It's like it got really emotional, and I just didn't know how to handle it. It was just like, they were like fellow Latino gentlemen that like really appreciated the representation, I guess, and it was one of those things where I just kept telling, like, they were saying the sweetest things and getting kind of emotional talking about it. And in my head, I was like, bro, I ain't shit, dog. Like, truly, I ain't shit, bro. I'm not a hero, bro. Like, you know, I'm a fucking idiot, man. And I'm just doing my best out here, bro. And it's just like, and it's one of those things where it's just like, damn, I don't know. It's still a very new thing. And,
how did it end? Like, what happened?
Well, it was. I think overall it was a beautiful interaction.
You punched them right in the mouth and said,
threw them through their fucking storefront. Yeah.
Like, okay, bro, that's enough.
Yeah, it's like, follow me on TikTok, bitch. You know, or some shit.
Are you subscribed or not? You're talking all this shit, but like, let me see.
Exactly. It's like, after all this, we had a beautiful woman was like, wait, you don't follow me?
You don't even follow me?
Dude, get the fuck out of my fucking face, dog. They get all mad. Yeah. But it's just one of those things where it's just like, well, I thank you so much for the kind words. Like the fact that you even, you know, want to meet me, that's fucking awesome, dude. Like, because I've been doing stand-up since I was 17. And like, I'm finally starting to see some traction, and I'm just like, you know what I mean?
It's gonna happen for you.
I'll be grateful for
There's
everything.
There's no fucking doubt, dude. I've seen it happen for others, and I see the trajectory, and I'm like, it's just literally a matter of time.
I appreciate it, dude. I'm trying my best out here, dog.
Hell yeah.
I'm getting. I turned 28 last week, and I'm getting baby fever, food. I'm getting baby fever, man.
What?
Yeah, I don't know why, because I have a partner.
Are you single? Or,
No, I have a partner.
Okay.
I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, dude. And then, you know, you told me you just had a kid 10 months ago.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I see someone like you. My biggest worry, and I know it sounds like a shallow, selfish thing, but my biggest worry is like, will I still be able to focus on my career? Will I still be able to do this? But then when I see someone like you still killing it, still just freaking doing whatever they want, and also being a great father to a cute little baby, I'm just like, okay. If Darin can do it, I'm gonna do it too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna have a kid anytime soon, but if it were to happen, you give me confidence. I'm like, bro, fucking Darin.
Yo, that's so encouraging, man. That's so encouraging. Because in my head, I'm like, see other people like that. I'm like, all right, cool, because I feel that way about other people. Yeah. You know, and it's like, you can't. Having a kid is like, you can't put it into fucking words, dude. It's so, what did they say? Somebody said it recently. It's like, it fucks your life up in the best ways possible.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like, you're upside down. It's like, here's how I put it. Like you're drowning, but you can breathe perfectly fine. And now you can see underwater. It's like, oh, but I feel like I'm drowning. But no, you're not. You're breathing perfectly fine. And not just that, you can see beautiful things that you couldn't quite see when you're above the surface. And so I'm getting to this place now where I'm like getting comfortable with the fact that I can breathe underwater. That it's like, oh, I could, you know? And so it's such a drastic metaphor, but that's really what it feels like, because it's like, how the fuck do I do this? How do I not fuck this up? Your girl goes through a whole slew of fucking changes. You, like, trying to be the man and the support and all this shit, like, you go through changes. And then now you have this little human being who came from an infinity, who looks like you, that you're responsible for. And you're like, oh, am I fucking breaking these curses? Am I gonna fuck this one up? You know, like you know, it's traumatizing, but it's like, fuck it, dude.
Fuck it, dude.
It's the fucking, and that's just kind of how I like to live life, is like, fuck it, dude.
Fuck it, let's do it.
Let's fucking go, like, And if you don't have that mentality, I can't fuck with you, man. Like, I can't. Like, I love you, I see you, but if you're gonna sit here and be like, well, maybe, well, let's see. No, dude. Yeah. What's your vision? That's your vision? I fuck with that vision. Let's go. Well, well. Yeah. Just fucking let's go.
Life is too short, dog. Let's fucking do it right now.
Let's do it. You know what I mean?
Right now. And if I may ask, if it's not too personal, did you plan to have the baby?
It was more, it was just like, if it happens, it happens.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was seeing a trajectory in my career where it was like, this is what I plan to do for the rest of my life. Yeah. And I'm happy doing this. And I see myself doing this, and I have a vision for my life now that's super clear.
Yeah.
You know, not everything was like worked out and perfect, but I just knew. And so I was like, okay, I'm on purpose. And so what's next? And then I started seeing this girl, and we were hitting it off, and it was great. And I was like, okay. And it just made sense with her. It just, people say it all the time where it's like, I don't know, it just made sense. I just knew. And I just knew with her. And so, you know, of course I was like, is it cool? Yeah. If we like go this extra mile? She's like, yeah. And
she said, fuck it.
She said, fuck it. Literally. So I was like, and so, yeah, and it happened a lot sooner than expected, but we're like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Let's live. You know what I mean? And so I got COVID, and I got like a really bad flu before that. And I'm 37. And so I'm you know, I'm not in my 20s anymore. I'm pushing my 40s, like midlife shit. And like, I'm like, okay, well, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, you look like you're 25.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. It's the bourbon.
Yeah.
But so I just was like, I remember I just was not doing well. I was hella sick. COVID kind of shook me a bit. And then the flu, I got a flu after that, not too long after that. And I ended up taking some Advil and like too much Advil, I think it was. And I was like, if you take too much Advil, you shit blood. Really? I thought I was fucking dying, bro.
You thought it was it?
I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm okay. And so I was like, is this what my life is gonna be? And me and her were kind of talking at the time or whatever. I think we were dating at the time. But I was like, if I die on this fucking toilet, just what is my life? Like, she's not gonna know. Like, she's gonna be out and come find me dead, and then what? That was the life of Darin. You made a couple TikTok videos and encouraged some people, and goodbye, no legacy whatsoever. And it really made me think, what the fuck do I want to do with my life? Yeah. And that's when I was like, I want to have kids, man. I want to be happy. I want to have a fucking wife, you know. And I plan on marrying this woman. I want to fucking live for once, you know? And so what does that look like? I'm done being scared. I'm done being scared, because shit and blood, not knowing that it's just Advil, is scary as fuck, dude. Because you think, I thought my organs were failing. And I'm like, holy fuck, dude. Like, I'm coming to terms with my own mortality. And I've done that plenty of times. People pulling guns on me, knives on me, trying to kill me at an early age, and all kinds of crazy shit. And watching people die. I've seen tons of people die. And like, but when it's you, and you're like, oh shit, I think it might be my turn. What am I gonna leave behind? And if it's not enough, if I get a second chance, I'm gonna fucking make it enough. You know? And so that's kind of where I was like, you know what? I'm done being afraid. You know?
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
So
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's been a fucking journey. You know, and it's been quite a journey.
Fuck it, we ball, dude.
That's it, bro. That's it. So what's it gonna take for you to have a kid?
Money. Like you say, like you use the term, I'm writing on purpose, like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think I don't want to be a creative studio owner forever. You know, if this comes to an end, then that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things. Like, I'll be fine regardless. You know, and I think once the wheels start going in like a direction that's just like, okay, this is it, you know what I mean? And I feel like it now, but a little bit more solidified than, I think. He's one of my best friends, Joel. I told him, I was like, if I had $1 million in my bank account today, I would have a kid tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, that's literally the only thing holding me back is just financial stability, I think.
Yeah.
Other than that, I feel fine.
Which I think that's I think that's a fair.
Yeah, because growing up with poor parents, it's just like I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Right.
And
right.
in like a rough neighborhood, shitty neighborhood, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. So it's like,
yeah.
if I have the ability to not let that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe once I'm 30.
Dude, I think because when we found out she was pregnant, I didn't have any money in my account, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, I think I had enough for like rent, barely, and I was like, fuck. And on the outside, everybody's like, oh yeah, it's great. He's fucking, this guy's thriving. He's got a nice apartment, all this shit, right? Mm-hmm. But on the inside, I'm like, I gotta fucking work. Yeah. And nothing was lined up. And then sure enough, shortly before, I got a call for a Grey Goose commercial that was like, hey, we need you to come shoot on this commercial, some photography stuff. And I was like, cool. Like, shot my rate, they approved, everything was good. And I was like, oh, thank God. And then after that, it was like, and it was almost, because I used to think very similar. And I'm not saying don't think like that. I think that's a very smart move. But it almost, having the kid put a fire into my ass that was like, that I've never felt before, And I've almost been homeless numerous times, and there was a time that I was. And it was like, this is just a different kind of fire. Yeah. And I think for me, it was more about what's the legacy you want to leave, because you could die tomorrow, And if you die tomorrow, what are you leaving behind? You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, is money gonna be the factor, or is the legacy? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so for everybody, it's different. And it's like, for me, it was like, fuck, dude. Like, I think if I die tomorrow, I need my little me to raise up and go watch all my videos and read all my diaries and fucking spread the gospel, you know? Yeah. But we thought it was a boy at first, and when we found out it was a girl, we're like, what are we gonna do? Yeah. Yeah. And I'm so fucking happy, dude.
Girl dad, you're a girl dad.
So good, dude.
That's what's up.
So good, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But did you grow up in LA?
Yeah, I grew up in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Born and raised. I don't see myself living anywhere else. I visited New York, and it was cool. I was like, I can see myself living here for a year or two, but Los Angeles, I think I'm going to die here.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And you have your parents and everything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got the family and all that stuff. And yeah, man, I'm just trying to do the thing, bro. Just every single day. Yeah. And like following, like I want everyone to follow him on his social media, because like it's inspirational, dude. Like sometimes like I'm chilling here on the couch and I see your video and you're like, what do you want your legacy to be? And I'm like, dude, I gotta go run a mile or some shit, dude. I gotta go like call my girl or plan a shoot or something like that. Like this is
that's awesome, dude. I love that.
And I think it's like someone like you is so necessary in society, because it's like not only are you're inspiring people and motivating people, but you have a very caring energy, very sweet energy. So it's like, there's David Goggins, and then there's Darin over here. You know what I mean? Where it's just like they're promoting the same thing, but just a different way. Yeah. And I feel like it's necessary, because not everyone activates to the same thing.
There's the Navy SEAL, and then there's the dude who fucking should have been dead due to psychological and emotional and mental abuse his entire fucking life. But somehow, I don't know how the fuck he got here. Yeah. Yeah, dude, I appreciate that, man.
Dude, hell yeah, dude. Yeah. Is that we've still got a lot of time.
Do we?
Well, yeah.
How much time do we
need? It's 4:30 right now. Do you need to leave?
No, I'm good. Yeah? I'm good. Yeah.
4:30, dude. What you call the... So you're from Orlando?
Orlando, yeah.
Originally. Do you recommend ever visiting that city?
Fuck no, dude. You hear all the crazy news stories from Orlando. The only thing... Fuck no. Yeah. The only thing about Orlando is like the theme parks. They got the best fucking theme parks. Yeah. Disney out there's the best. Universal is the best. Go on vacation. Yeah. But other than that, like if you're trying to live and like do something with your life, if you're trying to retire, cool. Yeah. If you're trying to vacation, cool. If you're trying to live and build, fuck that. Yeah. No. Leaving Orlando, was very difficult. So like, oh man. So I'm a Christian, and I say that, I'm done saying that reluctantly, but I used to say it very reluctantly. Anyway, maybe I still struggle with it a little bit because of the connotations that come with that shit.
Yeah.
But I was a part of a church out there, and I was very influential. So like, God really did something in my life when I was 17 that was just undeniably real. That I had experienced this. I was just fucking praying in my bed one day, and just this experience, this emotional experience that I had, that I can't liken it to anything else. It was just freedom.
Yeah.
And I sobbed for 2 hours, and then my life took a wild turn after that, like wild turn. And so I ended up going to this church, getting involved there, becoming a leader, and traveling and doing all this stuff, and it really taught me a lot about myself. And then I was like, I want to move to Hollywood. And so I was like, well, I was 18 at the time, so I was like, I'm gonna buy a camera and fucking be a photographer.
Yeah.
So I start pursuing these goals, and I was a janitor. That was like my first job, was a janitor at that church. And I used to sneak into it and set up the stage and like plug in my guitar and try to like play my guitar, and like nobody knew I sang and wrote music. And so I was like learning about photography and wanted to do music, and I just wanted to be an entertainer and like be famous, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I would sneak into the church through the roof and shit and like plug up the stage and get everything and perform on stage at like 2 o'clock in the morning to an empty fucking place.
Church,
right?
yeah.
As I started pursuing these like goals and these dreams and these talents that I had, people were just shitting on them. Everybody that I knew in Orlando was like, oh, like you're talented, but like what are you gonna do for like a job, you know? Like what are you? And they couldn't see what I saw. It was like, oh, you're gonna move to Hollywood? Okay, Mr. Hollywood. And,
Yeah.
oh, you're a photographer now? And I was like, what is happening, dude? And you're 18 years old, you don't know what the fuck is going on. You're dealing with all kinds of psychological shit already. On top of that, I grew up in a crazy abusive environment. My stepmom was highly just abusive. And at the end of the day, my dad was never home to kind of like advocate for me. So I had to fight for myself all the time. So I was being abused at home. I'd go to church, and then it was like this doubt and fucking shame. And then me and my girlfriend at the time were fucking. And so like we're leaders in the church. So like we try to go ask for help. And then it was like, Darin, fuck you. Her name was, well, I won't say her name, but like, come in.
Yeah.
We got you. He's a bad man. He's a, so they're like, we're like, dude, we're trying to like ask for accountability here.
Yeah.
We're 18-year-old kids just fucking like rabbits. We don't know what's going on. We got these hormones and you're kicking me out. And so I'm going through. I'm like, yo, God, like I know I experienced some real shit, but like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of this joint. Like this place is killing me.
Wow.
And so my dad was like, hey, we're moving to Houston. You can come with or you can stay. I was like, I'm going. Start fresh. And so I went, started working construction, working at my uncle's restaurant, learning photography, built my portfolio. And then finally, I was working at this Starbucks, and then got a job at this engineering company for about a year from a customer there. Saved $1,000. And I said, hey, Barry, I'm leaving, man.
Yeah.
He's like, you're going to Hollywood finally? I was like, yeah. He's like, I mean, if you stay, I'll give you, I think he offered me like 70, 80 a year to stay in Houston. I was like, oof.
Yeah, where was this last year, bro? Yeah.
That's like 200 or 300 here in LA.
Yeah.
And so, long story short, I said, nah, man, I was 25 at the time. I was like, I gotta make my move. I called my dad, I said, Dad, I'm going next month.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, cool. And that was my journey here. And shit hit the fan when I got here. And that's a whole nother fucking podcast episode.
Yeah. You moved right to Hollywood?
San Diego.
Oh, okay.
For a month.
Okay.
Shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine from Houston was like, hey, what are you doing in California? I was like, what the fuck are you doing in California? He's like, please come live with me. I don't know anybody. I'm fucking lonely. You can live with me for free. I can get you a job, which I ended up getting fired from 2 weeks after. Crazy shit. But he's like, dude, don't worry about it. He gave me a place to live for a year. And then after that, I was just on my own, couch surfing and doing random shit. And just, that was kind of like my homeless span.
Yeah.
And then did one job and people thought I was busy, and then got my apartment in Hollywood, which is a fucking 10 by 10, fucking roach infested, you know.
But right by Sunset and Vine.
Sunsetting in Bronson, actually.
Wow,
right on top of Bronson Bar. Yeah, so every night till 2 a.m. it's just bam, 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 bam. You know, but that's the dues, you know, you got to pay. And so as far as Orlando, short answer, nah, bro.
No. Was your stepmother, did she also go to Houston?
She did, yeah. So
she chilled? Did she cool down?
No, dude. She had her own shit, you know, and I think she meant well, but she wasn't fit to. Man, her whole life she was abused, and so like, I got the shit stick.
Shit end of the stick. Yeah.
So from her, you know. And so she didn't chill. It just got worse. It was like, you know, it was bad. And so, there were times where it's like she'd cook for everybody, and I'd come home and she's like, "Oh, well, sorry," type shit. Or like she'd do everyone's laundry, and then I'd have to do my own shit. She'd choke me out and spit in my face and like fucking scream at me, and if I missed the bus or something, she'd flick the lights on. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get the fuck out of the bed. You know, crazy shit. Or like, Joanna, can you take me to school? And she'd be like, get in the car and drop me a mile from the school and make me walk the rest of the way. Like, just like shit you don't do to a kid. You know, that's like literally the tip of the fucking iceberg. But like, she never chilled. And so I just was like, I need to get out of here. She started getting in my dad's head about he's 22 at this time. Like, he needs to pay rent. He needs to do this.
Whispering in his ear and stuff.
And so my dad was like, but he's trying to save money and build his career. And I was trying to buy equipment to do photography. And she's like, no, he's just using you. And I would overhear these arguments. She'd badmouth me. You know, and so that just caused a lot of fucking trauma and a lot of confusion. And
there's like a lot of there's like a discourse online about step parents, and like it's almost become a joke because like there's a parody video of like, oh, the baby daddy coming by and dropping off pizza just for his son, and then seeing the other kids like, oh yeah, this is just for him, like, you know what I mean? And just being like very foul to children, just because they're not theirs, you know. And it's just like that's terrible. That's just god awful, man.
It's probably the biggest learning experience of my life, which was almost to a fault, but understanding, because it got to a point where it was like, how do I kill this bitch? Like I was like, I don't give a fuck anymore. As a Christian, as somebody who has this experience with God that has changed my life and my mind in such a way that I could no longer go back to my old way of thinking. However, I'm over here thinking, how do I kill this bitch? And I was like, I need to go for a walk.
So she's making you something that you're not.
Yeah. And it was so abusive to the point where I was like, she could die by my hands or somebody else's hand. I don't give no fucks because of how bad it was and how bad I felt like I was being treated. And so I was like, I need to go for a walk. And one day I went for a walk, and I just was like, yo, God, I fucking hate this woman. And I have been pretty upset at people in my past, but I hate this woman. What's happening? And I was like praying a little bit as I was walking, and it just hit me like, she has never been loved. How can she ever love you? And the only thing she can love is her own. You're not her own. And it's not personal, Darin. And I'm like, oh, dude, I just started weeping in the street, just like as I was walking on the sidewalk back to my house, weeping for this woman. Like, she was abused by all her husbands or boyfriends. She's highly decorated Marine. Fucking an artist she's a fucking genius. And I'm like, no wonder she can't love me, because she's never had love. And no wonder she can't love my dad, because she doesn't know what love is. And that was like the kind of introduction to trauma and how it affects people's lives. And I'm like, now that I understand why she's the way she is, I can forgive, I can let go. and I still have to let it go because the name. Every time somebody's like, "Oh, what happened with your stepmom?" I'm like, "Fucking bitch."
It comes back.
Oh, dude, 100%. It's like, fuck that bitch. But I get it.
You get it.
But I get it.
I mean, you went through like both sides of the spectrum in like what, a span of 20 minutes. Like, I hate her, God, but I forgive her because I understand her. Doesn't mean I like her or doesn't forgive her actions, but I understand her.
I understand.
And maybe that right there is probably one of the main reasons why you're so good at understanding other folks, because you were literally there.
Yeah.
You know?
100%. Yeah. And that's where it kind of, I had to learn that balance, because it's like, just because you understand why they do it doesn't mean that it's okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't excuse it. And so it's like, okay, so what the fuck do I do? And it's like, there's boundaries here.
Yeah.
You know?
Boundaries.
And like, forgiveness isn't for them. It's for you. And to have hatred towards somebody is like, you know what? Fuck you, but I'm gonna drink this poison.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I forgive for me.
For you.
And I hope that you can forgive you and see you somewhere down the line, you know? And that's one that I have to remind myself every single day. Every day. Because if I don't, I get caught up in the bitterness.
I've had folks like that in my life where it's just like, I gotta fucking be a better person to forgive you.
Yeah.
And it's I feel like it's helped me in like navigate through life. When I start seeing other people show similar tendencies, I'm like, okay, that's like, it's made it easier for me to recognize that type of foul behavior.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And like, and in, that was their way of helping me in my life, is being so shitty that I can recognize shittiness from other people because they were so shitty to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that hypervigilance.
Yes.
It's like, growing up, my mom, it was such a weird dynamic. I don't remember much. I actually have an unread DM from one of my cousins who knew my mom. And her mom is the one who kind of unlocked everything for me and in my healing journey or whatever. When I asked her one day, how was my mom growing up? Like, how did she treat me when I was just an infant, or a baby? And my mom, I remember her being very loving, but also very abusive. And so there were times that I remember my mom being super gentle and holding me and rocking me to sleep. And then there's times when I'm looking out my window because she's going to get a switch from one of the trees. And for those of you who don't know what a switch is, it's a fucking long stick from a tree that your parents used to beat your ass with.
Switch it up.
And I just remember literally being like 4 or 5 years old. Oh, fuck. Like, what do I do? And I grab my blanket and just being ready, And just getting my ass beat to the point where I'm like bleeding, So it was this weird dynamic. I never knew what I was gonna get as a kid. So I grew up with this hypervigilance of like, okay, I need to manage people's emotions. I need to make sure that people are like, I'm safe. So like, this people-pleasing shit came up where it was like, hey, you good? Because if you're good, I'm good. If you're not good, what can I do to make you feel good? Versus like, you ain't good, fucking go get good and then come back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it was just this perpetual unsafety, lack of safety for over 20 some odd years. It wasn't until I was like in my 30s that I realized, oh shit, I was neglected, I was abused, and then there's this thing called the ACE test. I don't know if you know what that is. So basically it's a psychological test that is given to kids or whatever that have gone through, or just people in general that have experienced trauma, levels of trauma. And if you're like a fucking, I don't know, if you answer like 4 or higher, I can't remember, a certain number or higher, the outcome of your life is pretty much fucked. Like, you're gonna be in prison, you're gonna die early, you're gonna be an addict, your life's gonna be not so great.
Yeah.
Like an 8 or 9 on that scale, which is pretty high up. I should be dead or in prison or just like on the street somewhere. I should not be where I'm at. And so when I found that out, I was like, I'm fucked up. I think I just learned way too much about myself before knowing enough about myself. And so it was like, in my healing journey, I'm kind of running a rabbit here, but like in my healing journey, it was like, hey, Lori, what happened with my mom? She's like, oh, she abandoned you, she neglected you, she would leave you crying in your crib for hours until you cried yourself to sleep, and then she would wake you up and pick you up. That whole like, I'm not gonna reward this behavior to a fucking baby who has needs. And so now as a 30-some-odd-year-old man, I think I was like 2017 when I found that out, I'm like, all this trauma, like I'm fucked up, dude. No wonder my relationship didn't work. No wonder this didn't work. No wonder I'm here. No wonder like this. What the fuck? I'm gonna die. Like I'm fucked. And then I like found like books like Psycho-Cybernetics or the Four Agreements or it's just this truth that I found in my experience with God and that I found through the understanding of Yeshua, the Christ, of reality and how all that works and who I am in that I'm like, yeah, but like, yo, God, like, look what happened to me. He's like, yeah, you don't think I can fucking turn that shit around? You don't think I can whip that shit up and do some crazy shit with it? Go read the Bible and look who I fuck with. It's people who aren't qualified for the fucking job. Moses didn't know how to speak, but yeah, I told him to go say some weird shit like, I am that I am to Pharaoh, and I split the sea. You know, I turned his staff into a fucking snake. I did all these crazy signs. In this recorded history, in this documented history. So Darin, you think I can't handle a little bit of your trauma and make it something that can change people's lives? And I'm like, fuck it, dude. If I can change one person's life and I can leave a legacy, let's have a beer and die.
Fuck it, dude.
You know what I mean? Let's see what's on the other side.
Exactly. You know, I mentioned before the podcast, you broke the curse, your family curse, and it's easier said than done, right, brother? It's breaking like, dude, people don't realize, like, in order to break it, you had to study. You had to be patient with yourself. You had to be, you know, willing to learn new things, willing to be real with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and really acknowledge who you are. And from it sounds like it's taken years. To where for it's 2023 now, it sounds like it's taken quite a few years. And dude, it's awesome, dude. It's awesome that you're in such a great place right now.
It's a daily thing. It's like the curse has to be broken daily because it's like the moment I wake up in the morning, it's like, remember who you are? It's like, nah, I choose who I want to be. And it's like, yeah, but just in case you forget who you're choosing to be, I'll be right here because this is who you've always been. And it's like, I see you, you served me, you got me to where I'm at, but I don't need you anymore. And it's daily, bro. And it looks like this. My girl says something like, well, are you gonna clean the dishes? I interpret that as, you're fucking lazy, you don't help me, you don't do it, like the story. And it's like, or I can say, she's simply asking me a question. She has a need. It's like, oh yeah, I'll do the dishes, I got you. And then now this guy's voice starts becoming, the cursed voice starts becoming like, oh, he doesn't really listen to me anymore. You know, but he's always there. You know?
So the changes in the little things.
It's in the little, it's the active awareness of saying, I hear you, I see you, I acknowledge you, and I appreciate how far you've gotten me. Now, this is where we're going. You were the captain for such a time. I'm the captain for where we're going.
For the remaining.
For the remaining.
That's awesome.
100%.
That's awesome, dude. When people Google your name, because I Googled your name, the first thing that pops is photography, right?
Okay,
What was like I was curious because you say you've worked with so many big names. Like, what was like, if you even felt like this at any point, what was the point where you had a photo shoot with someone and you were like, oh, I made it. This is it.
Nah.
I'm a photographer. Like,
None.
No?
None. I felt like a fucking imposter the whole time. Yeah. I think when I shot with, let me see. Oh, man. When I shot with Johnny, in 2012, and Johnny Depp, Johnny Depp. In 2012, I was sitting in my 10 by 10 square foot apartment in Hollywood. I fucking broke as shit thinking, because he was my greatest influence. Him, Shia LaBeouf.
Oh yeah.
Two of my greatest influences in acting, and because that's what I wanted to pursue too. I was in my apartment in Hollywood, and I don't know what triggered it, but I just like got up, got on my table, went and wrote on Facebook, and it's still there. I'm gonna have a shoot with Johnny Depp soon. I don't know when or how, but watch, something like that. 3 years later, I'm in my office downtown in the loft, and in the New Girl loft.
Yeah.
And my buddy emails me, hey man, are you free for 4 days coming up? I said, yeah, what's up? He's like, well, I need you to sign an NDA. I was like, oh shit, they're shooting for Obama or something.
Yeah.
Signed it, send it over. He's like, cool, you're gonna be working with Johnny for an hour each day, Johnny Depp, to shoot with him for an hour each day on set for 4 days in a row. I'm like, I get to fucking hang out with this fool for 4 hours? Or an hour a day for 4 days?
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? Like, yo, I love Jack Sparrow, bro. You're my greatest fucking, fucking just.
It's like, dude, Edward Scissorhands was the
Dude,
fucking thing. Yes.
like you are the fucking my greatest influence, man. And so like, anyway, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And I found that post on Facebook 3 years prior. I was like, I can't believe this is happening. And I get on set, and as I was driving, I tell the story all the time. As I'm driving to set, I'm like, I need to go home. I got this cheap ass 5D Mark II with this fucking cheap ass 35 mil Sigma lens.
Yeah.
And some cheap ass fucking 28 mil that's cracked that I have to manually focus. That goes when I fucking focus it. I'm like, there's no way, man. I can't shoot the biggest star in the world on this. Damn. I need to go home. I'm gonna embarrass myself. I got some cheap ass lighting equipment that I got from fucking Amazon. It's like 150 watt second strobes that are diddly squat. Like, I can't do this. I need to go home. I know. And I was like, no, fuck this. I'm gonna do it. And if I bomb, I bomb.
Yeah.
And you know this, being a comedian. Fuck it.
Yeah.
And so, long story short, I showed up. He was 5 hours late, whatever. To answer your question, I think after the fact is when I felt like, I did it.
Yeah.
I fucking did it. Like, it fucking worked. Like, he was 5 hours late, lost light, had no lighting equipment with me where we were shooting. All my lighting equipment was back on set, was like 10 blocks away. It felt like it was far away. There was no light. 5D does not shoot good in light. My ISO was through the roof, for those of you who know photography. Anyway, and it was gonna be grainy. It was gonna look like shit. I was about to shoot the biggest star in the world, and the picture's gonna look like trash. I botched it. So anyway, I get there. This is a wild story. He gets out of the car. I'm the first person he sees. He's in full prosthetics, and he's like smoking a cigarette. He's the coolest motherfucker in the world.
He's dressed up as Jack Sparrow?
As Donald Trump.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's doing this short film as Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And he's smoking a cigarette, and he looks at me. I was like, you ready? He's like, or I think he's like, you ready? I was like, are you ready? He's like, fuck yeah, let's do this. And he puts a cigarette out, and he's like, come on. And he goes, and they shoot the scenes or whatever, and I got to see how he works. And it was like, bro, I mean, any acting class student would fucking kill to see this. Changed my whole life on how I pursue acting and all this stuff. Anyway, my turn comes, like, all right, Stills, come up, like, you know, come shoot with Johnny. I show up, I'm like, all right, hey, what's up, brother? He's like, I was like, you ready? He's like, fuck yeah, what do you need? And blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fuck this up. There's no light, it's dark. There's one light, like it's a street light, like a little lamp next to a door. It's like, all right, stand right here, blah, blah, blah. And I shit you not, bro. I pull up, I look through the viewfinder, and I just see a fucking key light just go boom. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I look, and the DP, the director of photography, has a light, like a big ass softbox. Yeah. Where do you want me, boss? And I was like, and his assistant with a bounce board, where do you want me, boss? I'm like, oh, no time for thank yous. I'm like, all right, shoot it up. You stand right here, boom, boom, Johnny, we're gonna, and I just fucking got into it, did it. And so during, I felt like a fraud. I felt like, fucking, you see, this is why you're a piece of shit. After, I'm like, you see, this is why you trust God. This is why you show up. Because you trust your gut, you trust what you know is true inside of you, and you just fucking show up. Stop trying to figure it out. Just fucking show up. And then, you know, even before that, when my career started with celebrities and big brands, I got very lucky because I got to shoot with commercial jobs that were for like Coca-Cola, Ford, Fiat, you name it, the biggest brands in the world that had A-list celebrities attached to them. One of my closest friends was a producer on that, so he got lucky, got that position, called me in as a photographer, so I got that role. No agent, no manager, no nothing, shitty old me with my shitty old camera. Well, dope ass me with a shitty old camera.
Yeah.
Anyway, so first job was, well, I'll start here. A friend of mine was like, have you ever heard of Kevin Hart? And I'm like, yeah, but I've never seen it. She's like, you gotta see it, let's go watch. So we watched his first special. I'm like, God, dude. I text her, I was like, how cool would it be to fucking work with this guy?
Yeah.
The next day I get a text. Are you free to shoot with Kevin Hart on Coke Zero commercial? I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Wow. My life is a fucking dream, dude.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm available. I go and I shoot it, whatever, it was great. I ended up meeting one of my close friend who's a comedian as well on that job. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me, dude. And then it was just like snowball effect from that. And, but to answer your question, I never really felt like I fucking made it, you know?
Yeah.
And even now, like I tell my girl now, I'm like, yeah. And my assistant, I talk to her on occasion, like, she's like, you forget who the fuck you are too many times, Darin. Like you forget what you've accomplished. You forget the things that you've got to do in your life and the value that brings to the world. I'm like, I know, because I'm just a fucking hood rat kid with no college education or high school diploma or fucking parents.
From Orlando.
From Orlando, shit fucking Orlando, you know, and like, and so now I'm on this journey of like, whether I made it or not, all I know is that I have a fuck ton of experiences that 0.00001% of the population has experienced. And if I can use that to help inspire and motivate and encourage people, just to be like, yo, you're not alone, you got this shit, whatever it is, that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you use it to inspire the other 99%, dude.
100%.
Oh yeah, brother.
Yeah, and so, yeah, and now I'm just on this journey of connecting with like-minded people who share that vision.
Yeah.
And like, how can I contribute? You know, it's like, look, I'm not the best in the world, but I'm fucking good at what I do.
Yeah.
How do we team up? You know, and for a long time I had to be a recluse. I had to get away from the friends that I was with. I had to get away from the content I was consuming and the ideas I had about myself and how things should be. And it was very lonely. You know, when you go through that healing process, it's like, cocoon.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, yo, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
But it feels good, but it fucking hurts.
But, and you're by yourself, and you're isolating.
It's super isolating. Yeah. So you feel like something's wrong. But nah, like, everything's right.
Yeah.
You know, just know that when the time comes, don't be afraid to connect. Because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Is like, back to what we were talking about in the beginning.
Yeah.
We're built for connection.
Yeah.
You know? And if we're not connecting, we're doing it wrong. What the fuck are we doing?
What are we doing?
You know?
Hell yeah, dude.
So.
Where can people find you?
Probably in the bathroom.
Taking a piss.
Just on Darin Rios, Darin.
Yeah. I also realized I messaged you and I said Dan for some reason. I was
like, fuck this guy.
Stupid.
I was like, I turned around.
Yeah, it blocked me and shit.
I was like,
fuck that shit.
You. No.
I noticed it when you know, I was telling you about the parking situation. I was like, fucking idiot. What the fuck, dude? I hope you didn't get upset.
Dude, people, I go on people's lives sometimes. I'm like, yeah, keep killing it. And they're like, thanks, Dan. Thanks, Dario. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
The whole thing. I'm like, is my name not clear on here? But maybe it's not, but whatever. It's Darin Rios.
Darin,
Everything under Darin.
You just Google this guy and everything pops up, dude. It's like he's Googleable.
Yeah. I'm Googleable.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
And you might even find some short films that I've done. Some funny shit. Yeah.
Goodness, yeah, jack of all trades, dog.
Dude, yeah.
What's that full phrase? Jack of all, master of
none. However, there's a quote that goes. Have you ever heard the full quote?
Yeah, where it's just like the master of none. The master of none is oftentimes better than the master of one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly how I feel.
Dude, and I didn't know that for years, and people used to tell me all the time, you need to focus on one thing.
Yeah.
And I got good at fashion design, cutting and sewing, painting, photography, graphic design, everything, acting, music production, and I hated myself because people misused that fucking quote.
Yeah, people would always tell me, focus on one thing, but we came up in the era of Donald Glover, Kanye West, you know what I'm saying, Jamie Foxx,
right,
who just did whatever the fuck they wanted.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, I see that, and I'm sure you see it, and it's just like, fuck it, why not? What the fuck?
Yeah, and there's a strategy, you know what I mean? Like, focus on one thing, but that doesn't mean don't do these other things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's why personal branding is so fucking important, because it's like, my personal brand is the fact that I do all of these things. I'm a fine art painter, I'm a fashion designer, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so that is who I am.
Yeah.
You know? And at the end of the day, I help people find who they are.
Yeah, dude. That's awesome.
It's fucking wild, dude.
I want to thank you again for coming by, dude.
Thank you for having me, man. This is
the first episode of season 2, and I haven't done this like one-on-one interviews in close to 2 years now.
Yeah.
And having you be the first one, it just reinvigorates me. And
fuck yeah, dude.
Very proud of what we said, and this episode's gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah, I hope so, man.
It's gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I know it's gonna touch a lot of people.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me, man. It's a real honor, for real.
My guy.
Appreciate you, brother.
Is that good? Do you want to say anything to people before we go out?
No, my bladder's about to blow.
Fuck you, baby.
Fuck it.
Bye. That's awesome.